Hey guys, so you know my movie by now is Love Jones. Um, the cast and characters are Nina is played by Neil Long, Darius is Lorenz Tate, Savon is Isaiah Washington. I didn't get Sheila's name. I didn't get Wood's name. Bill Bellamy. Anywho, so Nina and Darius meet up in this poetry club, and they were feeling each other, attracted to each other, and eventually they meet up. They meet. Well, Darius shows up with a CD that she wanted from the store, from the record store that the store didn't have. Ask her out on a date. I'm going fast with it. I'm going just gonna go through it because everybody's seen Love Jones. I'm just trying to do a recap. Um, they start dating, they feeling each other. All of a sudden, Nina needs to go back to New York for, I want to say it's set in Chicago. Nina needs to go back to New York for an interview and to try to wrap things up with Marvin. Marvin is played by Khalil Kane, and him and Nina were together. Well, evidently they split up, broke up, took a break. They did something. So Joseph had said, well, hey, if you tell him and he get mad, then you got him and you stay. If you tell him and he act like he don't care, then go and see what could be with Marvin or whatever. So Nina, lo and behold, she tells him. And because I forgot to tell you this part, they went out on a date, their first date, they ended up sleeping together. Well, Nina evidently blew his mind because the next morning he got up and made her breakfast with fresh squeezed orange juice. So what do that tell you? So anyway, so she tells him, and he played it, he played it off like it wasn't nothing or whatever, and he secretly he was upset about it. Okay, so she in her feelings because he didn't react the way she thought he should have, and he ticked off because you going to New York for old boy. You know what I'm saying? Like neither one of them said what they needed to say. And I know a lot of guys say that we don't say you guys we're expecting you guys to react a certain way, and then when you don't, we get mad. I think that's true. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's true. So anywho, she goes off to New York. Nina goes off to New York, and meet up with she do her little interview, and the guy was like, maybe you could be. Basically, he was telling her, she need to do her work need to be a little better. It's not professional. Okay, so she goes back home. She goes back to Marvin's apartment, and he's like, "What happened to the cereal? He raising sand about some oat cereal." And so she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I finished them up, blah, blah, blah." But it wasn't about the cereal, And then come to find out he don't want her to work. He prefer her to stay at home. He don't want her to pursue her dreams of being a photographer. He don't want any of that. He was like, "Baby, I can take care of us." So she don't want to be kept, She want to be her own individual person. So they get into it, and the next morning, she said, "Why am I here?" Because they sat down and talked, and she was like, "All we have is the years that we spent together. Like, we have nothing." So she realized in that moment, it was over. That relationship was over. So he had proposed to her, right? And she put the ring on his pinky, and she leave and head back to Chicago. Well, when she get to Chicago, which didn't make sense to me, she didn't call the night she arrived and say, "Hey, I'm back." She didn't do that. So she went to the bookstore, and she see Darius and this lady walk right past the bookstore, and so she felt like, oh, he moved on. So she doing her photography gig, and here comes Wood, played by Bill Bellamy. And he was like, "I want to take some pictures, all kind of pictures, and blah, blah, blah. And if you go out with me, if you have dinner with me, I'll buy, I'll get everything." So she was like, "What do you want from me?" Wood, and he's like, I just want dinner. So they go out. Oh, they go out, but she was wrong. You know what I'm saying? She already knew that he ran in the same circle as Darius. So why would you? I wouldn't have went out for popcorn with him. But women are different. So anywho, so they go out or whatever, and so evidently they had went out a few times because Savon tells Darius, let me tell you something that maybe you didn't know. So anywho, this is what got me. So first of all, he drives a hearse, right? He drives a hearse. And so they rolling around in the hearse on their way. She was like, where are we going or whatever? And he takes her to Sheila's birthday party. So knowing Darius was going to be there, right? So when she came in, when they walked into the house, she felt all those bad vibes. Like, because they are a circle of friends, so you going through the friends, like, they looking at her crazy, and they looking at him like, why would you bring her, and Darius is here, like, why are you doing that? Because we ain't rolling like that. So she was like, where's the bathroom? So she goes upstairs because she's embarrassed, and you looking trampy right about now, right? You looking trampy. And so, and when she comes back down, she was like, I need to talk to you for a moment, talking to Wood. So they go outside, and she was like, why would you bring me here and embarrass me and blah, blah, blah. Take me home. And he was like, what? She was like, take me home. You gonna take me home? He said, no. He said, no. See, you didn't, he ain't Darius. You know what I'm saying? Just because you hang with them, just because you hang with a gentleman don't mean you are a gentleman, okay? So he go back in the house. She take off walking. And so they asked where she was. He was like, she outside, or whatever. And so Darius, he's like, you just left her out there, So he grabbed his coat and he go after her. He was like, Nina, hold up. I don't want to talk to you. He was like, hold up. He was like, well, hold up. I'm just trying to make sure you get home okay. She's standing there. I know she's feeling a certain type of way because the man you came with told you basically, walk home. Get home the best way you can. What is it called? Beat your feet. Beat your feet all the way back home, sweetie. No, I'm not leaving this party. You don't mean that much to me. Right? So he was like, we're going to walk up here to this payphone. I'm going to call you a cab, and then we don't have to talk. So while they waiting on the cab, he was like, how you going to how you going to run out to New York and come back? You don't call nobody. And then here you are out here with my boy. And she was like, I saw you with that girl or whatever. And he was like, what? Because he didn't know she saw him. She jumped in the cab and she leaves. So he like, who? What? Lisa. I think that's her name, Lisa. So anywho, they went back in the house. He went back home, but they didn't show that part. Okay, so they were sitting at the table. It was Sheila and Darius. Wood came in, right? And so now they having a male testosterone moment amongst each other. Because Wood trying to insinuate Nina keep him up all night, And so, and Darius is like, well, yeah, I've been there. I've been kept up all night. And blah, 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 right? And he was like, so, Wood still trying to exchange, he trying to really make it fit. He trying to really make it seem to Darius like him and Nina really sleeping around, and they not. Darius like, well, see, the thing about you, you always get fired. See with you and your jobs, you always get you always get fired. I'll be the one to walk away, you know. So he hot though. Oh, he hot under the collar. And so he get up and he walk off, you know. So so Wood said what something and he was like, whatever, you know. Oh, he hot. He really hot. So Savon and his wife, well, they got into it. You saw her and the kid leaving. She left Savon. Because at Sheila's party, he showed up with somebody else. And Darius was telling him, you married. And he was like, first of all, you were one of the ones told me not even marry Troy. What you talking about? What you doing? Now, now you team Troy. I'm just saying, you married and you brought this girl in here. He was like, oh, y'all need to get out of my business. He said, oh, y'all need to get out of my business. I love Isaiah Washington. I'm telling you, his career went down when he made that homophobic slur toward, I can't think his name, but he played on the show with him. When TK something, when he made that toward him, I think they fired him off of Grey's Anatomy and everything. But anywho, let me get back. Y'all know I'll jump off track in a minute. So. But yeah, he was pretty good though. Anyway, so Nina is, doing her thing. Darius is trying to write his book. So I'm trying to see. Oh, okay. So she leave. Oh, okay, so at this point, she calls him to thank him for, looking out for her that night. And she was like, I wanted to call you, but when I saw you with that girl, thought you had moved on, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I have two tickets to a step step event tomorrow. I would like for you to come. And he said, okay. So they go and step. I think that's cool. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, but hey. So they step or whatever, they getting their little gig on. And so she was like, when they left, she was like, see, now this is a real date. He said, oh, that wasn't a real date? And so she wanted to have a date followed by no sexual activity to call that or consider that a real date. So they show back up at Nina's place and they show back up and she handed him some blanket and a sheet for the couch. He said, what am I going to do with this? We done already had sex. Like, why are you doing this? Like, what's going on? And she was like, I just want to know, we can do more than just that. Like this is more than just that. He said, okay. And then she come playing with him. Can you unzip my dress? It gets stuck sometimes, tripping. Yeah. So she upstairs and hot and bothered. He downstairs hot and bothered. She don't want to pick out this real sexy lingerie because I'm thinking she thought he was going to just come on upstairs and jump in bed. No, you put him on the couch and he stayed on the couch. So then he was like, can I play some music for you? He did come on up and can I play some music for you or whatever. So, but yeah. So, again, they had sex or whatever. So they was trying to get it back together, right? Well, Nina fell asleep and at his house, and the phone rang in the middle of the night, and it's Lisa, the girl he had started talking to. So then, he gets up, and so the next day, he gets up and she opened her eyes. She heard the phone call. She heard the phone. She heard him say Lisa. She heard him get out of bed. So the next day, she in the kitchen, whatever, drinking her some coffee or something, and she see the girl's number on, in his kitchen. So they sitting on the couch, and so really she feeling stank, he feeling stank. It's like, so she was like, do you think I slept with Wood? And he said, I learned a long time ago, don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. And she said, well, I didn't. And she told him she don't trust him, and she was like, how can I trust you? And you got her number all in the you say you ain't talking to nobody, and her number all in your kitchen or whatever. And honey, baby, he jumped up. He said, I tell you what, why don't you come by my place tomorrow and get all your stuff? Cause I'm not doing this. I'm not going back. I'm not doing this right here. So tomorrow, come get your stuff. But honey, she goes over there to get her stuff, and she had her key. She said, I think I got everything. She said, make sure you close the door tightly when you leave. And she threw the key at him or whatever, she didn't trust him because she felt like he was still messing around. He said, I told you for the last time, I'm not seeing nobody else. It's me and you. I'm not seeing nobody else, and I get that, because it's like, dude, I'm not gonna keep telling you it's me and you and me now, unless you got something else on the side going on. Cause he said, why would you, want to sleep? Why would you want to sleep with my boy? Why would you want to be with him? Why did you go to New York and not call? And when you got back, you didn't call me. Why you do that? So. Anyway, so she goes off, and Josie calls. So they really having a hard time. Like he's a writer trying to write a book. He was not focusing. He was in his feelings. His little feelings were hurt, but he was trying to play our tough guy. Like when she came and said, yeah. So sometimes, guys, y'all don't say what y'all need to say either. When she told him she going to New York, he should have said, for what? Should have said, oh, so you going to for loose, tie up loose ends? Okay. Well, I feel some type of way about that. I feel a type of way about you telling me you're going to tie up some loose ends with old Joe Blow over here. I have a problem with that. Now, unless this means absolutely nothing, because they kept saying, well, we just kicking it, right? Neither one of them meant it. They did not mean it whatsoever. Again, opportunities to say how you really feel just drop to the floor. Because they both were feeling each other the exact same way. So, anywho, ooh, I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. So, anyway, y'all know that hurt when you get in your eye hurt. So, anyway, Josie called him, and she said, hey, Nina is catching the train to, she's catching a train to New York. She's leaving at 12 or something like that. And Derek's like, well, why you call me? We ain't together, whatever. He trying to go off. What are you going out for, dude? Like, she just letting you know. Because evidently out of between you and her, she the smart one. She know you and her are on this bull crap, and you and her are saying stuff you don't mean. And so she just letting you know. She was like, just in case you want to see her off. And hung up the phone. But he had attitude. So he's sitting there, and then all of a sudden, he goes and try to make it. Well, he actually, by the time he got to her train, it was pulling off. So he ran and called her name, but of course, she didn't hear it. So then it was like a year later, she, now she's a head photographer. Now she's doing her thing. He wrote his book. His book getting ready to come out. He goes over to take the cover to show Savon, and Savon was like, man, why you never called her? He was like, well, I wanted to. I wanted to write her a letter. I never mailed them. I mean, it was a lot of things I wanted to do that I just didn't do. So, missed opportunity. So, anyway, so Nina comes back to Chicago because she had a photo shoot. So she had, she writes poetry in her little notebook or whatever. So she show up at the poetry place. She shows up, and she tells Ed she wants to say a poem. She's looking around for Darius, but don't see him, but he was there. And so he calls her up to the stage, and what was the name of her poem? I probably didn't get the name of it because it was, I don't know. It was, I really, I really didn't get the name of her poem. And so she said, she said the poem and then she left. She got emotional a little bit, and, finished it up and walked away. Well, she threw the notebook in the trash on her way out. Darius sees her, and so before once she stepped out, he told him he was gonna leave, and he goes and she go outside. There's a cab waiting, so he comes from the shadows. He was like, Nina, because she was about to get in her cab, and so she hear him and see him, and she walk across the street, and so he said she was like, I wanted to call you. I just never did, blah, blah, blah. And I forgot, Savon's wife came back. She actually came back and they were trying to work things out or whatever. And so, I wrote it right here. I said he comes from the darkness and calls her name. I write a little bit myself, so that's why I say he comes from the darkness. So they standing in the rain, and he was like, I want us to be together. And she was like, you want everything when you want it, how you want it and when you want it. And so he told her, he said he declared his love for her. And, he said, this right here it's urgent. You and I, this love thing we have, this right here between us, it's urgent. I appreciate that. I'm like, you didn't get all of his heart in the beginning, but he is right now in this moment. Girl, he just handed you his heart on a platter because he said this right here is urgent. But he cursed, I don't curse. But he said this is urgent. Can I get a man to tell me that, like, Sean? You and me, babe, we urgent. Can I get a hard-working, tall, dark, handsome fella to tell me that? This right here between you and I is urgent. And I can appreciate that. And, so they decided to be together. She said, how this going to work out? I'm in New York. You in Chicago. He said, we'll make it work. We're going to make it work. We're going to work it all out. And so, in the rain, they declaring they love each other. And then, she says it back, I love you. I was like, oh, guys, I know you all seen Love Jones. Neil Long and Lorenz Tate. They make a nice little couple, even though he's married and whatever, and she was with whoever or whatever. But they made a nice little, little cute couple though. They both short, but he's taller than her. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, guys, that was Love Jones. And I know you all seen it because we all went to the movies and droves and saw that movie. Then you guys was, I used to work at Blockbuster. You guys was coming to Blockbuster and getting it, renting it. So I know we all done seen Love Jones 59 million times or whatever. That movie was pretty good. And again, Isaiah Washington, he's a strong actor. It's just he made those homophobic slurs toward TK, whatever his name, TK Billings, TK somebody, and he got fired from Grey's Anatomy. And it's like, you got to watch what you say, even if that's how you feel. If that's how you feel, but this is how you make your check, you might want to keep that to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because it was overheard and then you lost your job. This how you feed your family, man. Anywho, again, see, sometimes some things we think we can't say, Some things we think we can't say because, it's an inappropriate time. It is what it is. Okay? Y'all can see all up my nose. I don't have any little friends up there, but I might need to start sitting back. Right? Because you can see all up my nose. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can. Okay. Anywho, let me go because I have to make one more video for 911 on yesterday. And I got to get ready for Our Kind of People, which I will be coming back tonight after it goes off with that video. So I will see you guys in my next tribute to our black movies from the 90s and 200s. 90s and 200s. From the 1990s and 2000s. The early 2000s. Peace.